Dateline Los Angeles. People in LA see some of the most exciting live remotes of police chases anywhere. But tonight, we have the first one that ever ended with a free floor show. This suspect led the cops in a chase on Interstate 405 in the San Fernando Valley before finally pulling over and surrendering. Knowing that cameras were rolling up in the air, the driver must have thought, why waste this big break? So he went into a break dance. Now, before he got busted, he busted a move. Why, I bet once he gets out of jail, he's going to be a contestant on that great TV show, Dancing with the Cars. Well, they say you can't fight City Hall, but don't tell Jason Windus that. Out in Santa Rosa, California, he built a 6-foot fence at his home to keep his dogs in the yard. That makes sense. Well, the city ordered Windus to cut his $9,000 fence down to 3 feet after one of his neighbors complained that it obstructed the view of traffic at the corner where Jason lived. Now, Mr. Windus felt it was unfair that no other home in the neighborhood was asked to do this, but the city threatened a $500 a day fine until he cut the fence down to 3 feet, so he complied. With a twist. Windus placed 4 anatomically correct naked mannequins in the yard around his outdoor table, and a 5th female standing and holding up her arms. A sign nearby says, "Reserved seat for nosy neighbor that complained about my fence to the city." Now his mannequin protest may have cost an arm and a leg, but he's already had dozens of local citizens out taking pictures and telling him his protest idea is great. Oh, and the nosy neighbor? I'll bet they miss that privacy fence now and probably wish he'd put it back up. Hey, do you enjoy cheese? Want to learn how to make the most delicious cheese possible? The answer might be playing a little Kanye West. Researchers in Switzerland recently did a research project called Cheese in Surround Sound to determine the effects that sound waves might have on the microorganisms in cheese. That's got to be a government project. Nobody else would even think about doing this, playing music to cheese, okay? Now, when I first heard about this study, I thought to myself, you Gouda brie kidding me. Keith, I'm thinking some of our audience here tonight is lactose intolerant. What do you think? All right, the cheese researchers, who were all looking feta sharp, took 9 22-pound wheels of cheese and they played different genres of music to each one, day and night, for 6 months. Everything from Mozart to Led Zeppelin, from jazz to hip hop. And of course, one poor control cheese wheel sat in silence. You still wonder why they didn't play Beyoncé. But here's the big news. Technologists said the cheese wheel that listened to hip hop had a discernibly stronger smell and stronger, fruitier taste than the other test samples. Now, the one thing never mentioned in this story that was for the taste test to take place, one of the technologists had to, wait for it, cut the cheese. Okay, I completely realize that joke was no Gouda, so we're going to move on. Hey, we've all heard that you should recycle your plastic grocery bags. Well, 75-year-old Rose Ferrigno of Greece, New York, decided to turn hers into fashion. So she cut plastic bags from Wegmans supermarket into strips, tied those into longer strips like yarn, then using giant knitting needles, she whittled out of dowels. You see, she recycles everything. She knitted the plastic bags into a suit. The jacket and the skirt took 170 grocery bags each, and it took her 2 months to do it. The grocery bag suit is attractive, stylish, and it's definitely waterproof. Let me assure you, as someone who lived through the 1970s, wearing a suit made out of plastic is just not that comfortable. At the time, I thought it was seersucker, but I was just the sucker who bought it at Sears. And you know, people say everything's bigger in Texas. Well, that sure was the case at a Petco down there. A rancher decided to test their all-leash pets are welcome policy. So he brought in Oliver, his 1,600-pound Africa Watusi steer, on a leash. The ranchers, said the staff, welcomed him with open arms. But they stayed up front and kept Oliver out of the aisles. Well, should be, with those long horns. This is a certainly cute, feel-good story, but now I'm worried that the next time I fly, someone's going to try and bring their emotional support steer on board the plane. Well, just like the Mayan calendar back on December 21st, 2012, we've run out of time. But always remember, we read the news,